he never meant to fall in love that night. In fact, the very idea of love made him laugh, a hollow, bitter kind of laugh that hides pain no one sees. Ethan Walker was the kind of guy who wore sarcasm like armor. He believed feelings were weakness, and relationships were just fancy words for disappointment. His friends called him the realist, though deep down, he knew the truth: he wasn't realistic, just broken. It started as a joke. A stupid online dare from his college group. Swipe right on the first girl who messages you and agree to a date. He rolled his eyes but played along. He didn't care who it was, he wasn't looking for love, he was looking for a laugh. He didn't even check her profile properly, just replied with a half-hearted, "Sure, why not," and set the time. The plan was simple: go, mock the whole thing later with his friends, and prove again how pointless love really was. But fate, in its quiet, ironic way, doesn't always let us stay heartless. Speech balloon. Before we go deeper into this story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the mysterious ways life connects people, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Hope. It helps us bring more stories that touch hearts like yours. It was a cold Friday evening when Ethan walked into the little cafe downtown, a dimly lit place filled with soft music and the smell of roasted coffee beans. He came early, planning to finish quickly and leave. He was scrolling through his phone when she walked in, the girl who was about to rewrite every belief he had about life, love, and redemption. Her name was Lily Hart. She wasn't flashy or trying too hard like most people on dating apps. She wore a simple white sweater and a worn-out denim jacket. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, and her eyes, they weren't the kind that begged for attention. They were quiet, calm, and yet, endlessly deep. Ethan looked up, expecting someone loud or awkward, someone he could later joke about. But something about her stopped him cold. She smiled, not the perfect, practiced kind, but a soft, nervous smile that felt like warmth on a winter day. She said she almost didn't come. "People don't always mean what they say online," she'd typed earlier. But something told her to show up, maybe curiosity, maybe hope. When Ethan heard that, something inside him shifted, just a little. For the first time in a long while, he felt seen. They talked about music, movies, random life stories. She laughed at his sarcasm instead of being offended, and when she shared her dreams, of volunteering at children's hospitals, of wanting to help kids who'd lost hope, he didn't mock her. He couldn't. Her sincerity disarmed him. An hour turned into 3, and by the time they left, the sky had gone from blue to ink black. She walked him to his car, and before leaving, she said something strange. "You laugh a lot, Ethan, but your eyes don't." She smiled again, the same warm, understanding smile, and walked away. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in his head like a whisper he couldn't shut out. He had spent years hiding behind jokes, pretending he didn't care about anything. But Lily, a stranger, had looked right through him. And that scared him more than anything ever had. Over the next few weeks, they met again, sometimes for coffee, sometimes for long walks along the riverside. She never asked too much, never pried into his past, but somehow, she made him talk. About his parents' divorce, his broken engagement, the time he watched his mother cry quietly in the kitchen while pretending everything was fine. For the first time, someone listened, truly listened, without judgment, without trying to fix him. And just like that, without meaning to, Ethan began to heal. But life, as always, has its own cruel timing. One evening, after nearly 2 months of seeing each other, Lily called him and asked to meet at the same cafe. Her tone was different. Quieter, heavier. When he arrived, she smiled like always, but her eyes looked tired. She told him she had something to share, something she'd been keeping from him. Ethan's heart dropped. She told him she was sick. Not a cold, not something simple, but something she'd been battling quietly for years. A rare heart condition that had worsened over time. She'd kept it from him because she didn't want pity. She wanted him to see her for who she was, not for the hospital records that followed her. Ethan sat in silence, his world spinning. He'd come to that first date as a joke. Now, the thought of losing her terrified him. She took his hand gently, smiled, and said, "You can walk away if you want. I wouldn't blame you." He didn't. He couldn't. That night, for the first time in years, Ethan cried. Not out of weakness, but out of love, real, raw, human love. He stayed. Through doctor visits, hospital days, and long nights filled with quiet prayers. She'd smile through the pain, saying, "Every heartbeat is a gift. I'm just trying to make them count." Her optimism was contagious. It changed him. The man who once mocked love now spent his weekends volunteering with her at the children's hospital, reading stories to sick kids, painting walls with color and laughter. He found purpose in her purpose. He began to see life differently, not as something to survive, but something to cherish. Months went by, and though her condition worsened, she never let it define her. She taught him the power of gratitude, of living in moments instead of waiting for perfect days. On her good days, they'd go to the river and throw pebbles in, each pebble representing something they were grateful for. On bad days, he'd just hold her hand, listening to her heartbeat, fragile but determined. Then came the day that changed everything. It was spring, the season she loved most. The hospital had organized a small charity event for the kids, and Lily insisted on attending. She wore a yellow dress. Her favorite color, she said, because it reminded her of sunshine even on dark days. She looked pale, but her smile was radiant. She told Ethan, "No matter what happens, promise me you'll keep laughing, not to hide, but to heal others." He promised, holding her close, not realizing it would be their last moment together. That night, her heart gave out quietly while she slept. She was gone before dawn. Ethan felt his world collapse. The pain was unbearable, the silence louder than ever. He stopped showing up at the cafe, stopped meeting friends, stopped smiling. For weeks, he shut the world out, until one afternoon, he received a letter in the mail. It was from Lily, written days before she passed. It read, "Ethan, if you're reading this, it means I've finally found peace. Please don't mourn me too long. Remember me with laughter, not tears. You gave me the gift of feeling normal, of feeling loved. Now I want you to keep that love alive. Help others the way you helped me. Don't be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to love again. Because love is never a joke, it's the reason we survive." He read that letter over and over, tears blurring the words. And for the first time, he understood. She hadn't come into his life to stay, she came to awaken him, to remind him that even broken hearts can still beat for something beautiful. Ethan went back to the children's hospital and volunteered full-time. He started a small foundation in her name, the Lily Heart Foundation, to support kids with rare illnesses. Every year on her birthday, he'd visit the river, throw a pebble in, and whisper, "Thank you." Years later, when people asked how it all started, he'd smile softly and say, "It started as a joke. But the girl who showed up, she changed everything." And in that quiet truth, you could see what love really means, not perfection, not forever, but presence, compassion, and the courage to care even when it hurts. Ethan never forgot Lily. He never remarried, not because he couldn't move on, but because some people don't leave, they live on in how we love, how we give, and how we change the world. And so, the boy who once mocked love became its messenger. Not because of a grand romance, but because of a simple, sincere girl who showed him that kindness, even from a stranger, can save a life. Speech balloon. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Silent Hope. Your support helps us keep spreading stories that remind the world that love, hope, and kindness are still real. Thought Balloon special request: tell us in the comments, do you believe that one person can truly change another's life forever? Because Ethan does. And maybe, after hearing his story, you will too.